Welcome. I'm Amy Layton Gamble from Jackson College, and I'll be reading The Cough by Harry Humes. While I'm reading today, I'm going to be applying active reading strategies to help me construct meaning. When I begin, I'm going to look at the title, The Cough, and think about what I already know so I can make some predictions about what the text might be about. A cough might be the result of a dry throat, or it could be the result of a cold. Or maybe someone who smokes and has a smoker's cough. I'll have to read and see if my predictions are correct and trust that the author will give me some clues. I'll begin. Our young father walked Ash Alley, whistling Rescue the Perishing. Oh, already I'm going to stop. First I notice the words, our young father. That tells me that the child or children of the young man are the speaker who's telling the story. Ash Alley. I don't know where Ash Alley is, but I know what an alley is, and I can visualize that in my mind. I can see a young man walking in an alley whistling. In fact, in my mind it's dark. Our young father walked Ash Alley whistling Rescue the Perishing. That's a song, but I wouldn't use the word rescue or perishing in my everyday talk. I would probably use the word save instead of rescue, jot that in, and I would probably use the word dying instead of perishing. Now I'll reread it to see if that makes more sense. Our young father walked Ash Alley whistling Save the Dying, but already he carried mine tunnels home in his black-streaked breath. I see something new come in now. When it says mine tunnels and black-streaked breath, I realize this isn't about someone with a dry throat or a cold or even a smoker's cough. It's about someone who works in the mine tunnels. It makes me think of black lung. Maybe we'll see what is happening as we read through the text and gain more information. It was like the first sleet against an attic window. It was like the first sleet against the attic window. I have to draw my background knowledge. I've lived in Michigan. I know what that's like to hear the first sleet against a window and think about how that makes me feel when I hear it. It makes me feel like I want to be inside and protect myself from the nasty weather outside. Maybe that's a clue about what's going to happen in the text. I'll have to read on and see. My mother would look at him, her lips like a line of impatience and fear. That word, kind of sticks out to me. I wonder if she's scared he'll die. I'm going to jot that down. Your lungs will soon be stoned, she said. It's good money, Dorse. It's our only money. This is the father speaking here. I know people, and I bet you do too, that work in places that aren't very healthy, but they do it because of the money. Maybe that's what's going on here. I'll have to read on and find out. Some of the men who stopped at our house to see my father had tongues like fish that stuck out between words. It's not a very good image. I'm wondering if some of these men are people that he works with. It says they had tongues like fish. And like I said, that's a pretty gross image. I'm going to try and draw a mouth with a tongue sticking out that looks like a fish. Perhaps not the best drawing, but it still will help me remember. Gray-faced, shoulders bony, they all seemed about to cave in. It tells me these men are unhealthy too. And in my mind, I think they're young, just like the father. My mother would leave the room, her lips thinner than ever, but the cough followed her. Across the linoleum floor, linoleum is a floor, I inserted that word, down the cellar steps, hunkered close when she planted sage and primrose. I have to think about that. The cough followed her. Again, I don't have any knowledge about people who work in the mine, or a cough that's a result of that. But I do have some background knowledge about a smoker's cough, so maybe I could use that to help make a connection. I don't smoke, but I know a lot of people who do. And when they cough, it does seem to follow them. It follows them to work and at home. And sometimes even while they're just in their everyday life. It seems like it's always with them. It's hard to get away from it. I'm going to go back to the text now. It says the cough is like a child. It was always hungry and demanded attention. It's true. It's hard to not notice a cough. It's loud, sometimes annoying. It woke us up at odd times, meaning the cough. The cough woke us up at odd times and sat in the good chair by the window. I have to think about, how can a cough sit in the good chair by the window? I'm going to rely on my background knowledge again. When people smoke, the smoke hangs with them, and it does seem to follow them. It does seem to be in the good chair, and a new couch, and even a new car. Whatever is good and clean and new into the home, or in the surroundings, soon is stained with its smoke. Maybe that's what's going on here. I'll read on. In the winter, it trailed behind my father like a peacock feather on a woman's hat. And I have a visual of that, a clear one. Picture a woman's hat, big peacock feather sticking out. When I think about that visual image and the cough being like that, it makes me think it's almost like the cough is attached to him and he can't get away from it. It follows him wherever he goes like a ball and chain. One summer he told us we were on a planet going nowhere fast. He made a model he called an orrery. Well, I'm not familiar with that word. It's new. But maybe I can figure it out by the way it's used in the sentence. He made a model he called an orrery and showed us how the heavens worked. Maybe it's something that displays the solar system. The center was bright and hung there like one of my mother's peony blossoms. The center was bright. It's probably the sun. That there's what pushes it, he said, and that's what made the coal. This whole section here makes me think of something new. This man seems to be a person who works in the mine tunnels. He's a laborer. But in this paragraph, it seems like there's new information, that he's interested in some academic things, maybe some learning, and wants to share it with his children. Let me jot that down so I remember. We looked at him and nodded, but we had our own ideas about what made it go. We could hear it behind the least little thing. That's powerful. We could hear it. It's the cough. When I put this all together, I think the sun heats the earth, which makes the coal, which generates money for their family, funds their family, makes their family go. But it also makes the cough. I see how it all comes together, how there's a connection there. I've really enjoyed reading this story, and applying the active reading strategies has helped me understand on a deeper level. Thank you so much for joining me today. Look forward to visiting with you again. Thank you.